So in this video, I'm going to code a bubble sort. And just so you remember how it works, right? A bubble sort, what it does is it keeps iterating through the list and comparing adjacent elements and then swapping them if they're in the wrong order. And by doing this, you can watch the high values bubble up to the top, and that's where it gets its name. And now it's sorted. Okay, so the first thing, let's go ahead and start with, actually, let me move this out of the way, and let's start with the inner part of the loop, which I'm just going to say for int I is equal to 0 and I is less than, and I'm using an array here, so it's going to be ar.length I plus plus. Okay, and now we're going to compare adjacent elements. So I'm going to say if ARRI is greater than ARRI plus 1, that means we need to make a swap. And I've just copied that swap function over into this to make it easy. So I'm just going to say swap and takes ARR, and the two arguments are going to be I and then I plus 1. Okay. Now, there's one little thing we got to fix here. Remember, we're doing a peek ahead inside the array, right? We're looking at two adjacent elements, and so we have to stop one short of the end. All right, so this is one pass, but this needs to keep occurring until we go through the entire array and we've never made any swaps. Okay, so and a bubble sort ends when, after that final pass, you go through the whole array and everything is in order. So what I'm going to do here is make a Boolean variable here, and I'll call it swap made, and I'll set it equal to true. All right, we'll assume we're going to. And we'll make our loop say while swap made. And I'm not using a for loop here because, if my list ends up sorted early, then we want to just bail on the loop, and it might take several iterations through the list to get it sorted. Okay, so now how do we flip this variable? Well, what I'm going to do is, before I make a pass through the loop, I'm going to set swap made false, and then inside my loop, right, every time I do make a swap, I'll just say swap made is equal to true. And so now, why didn't I declare it false at the beginning here? Because, since I'm setting it to false right away, I just need it to be true because I need to get into this loop at least once, because I need to make one pass through the loop to see if it's in order or not. So, this value and this value are opposite just for the sake of getting us into that loop for the initial time. All right, so now set swap made to false. We go through the loop, and if there's any occurrence where we have to flip two adjacent values, swap made gets set to true. And then when we go up, we'll go and do the for loop again. Eventually, we should be able to make an entire pass through the array and never hit this conditional. And so swap made will stay false, and we'll exit the loop, and the list will be sorted. So let's go ahead and test this out. All right, I've got a list of nums here, and they should come out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's run it and see. And there's the output, so looks like it works. All right, so anyway, that's a bubble sort. And this is maybe one of the simplest sorts to understand, but just, it's also worth knowing that this is a horribly inefficient sort, because there are so many swaps and so many comparisons to make relative to other sorting algorithms, right? So in practice, no one would, this is a fun one to write and a fun one to kind of see it work. But in practice, we wouldn't include a bubble sort in any application. There are other sorts that do a much better job more quickly. All right, well, that's it for this video. And if you have any questions, let me know.